All right, so now that you're all caught up on what's going on with the basement renovations, you're probably wondering what's it going to do with the ceiling? Drop ceiling? Paint it black? No, neither. I'm going to do this with the ceiling. Let me explain. So, traditionally speaking, Americans in the suburbs would do like a drop ceiling in their basement, right? But more recently, people are going to be, just spray painting it black to sort of give it a clean look, but not have to suffer all the disadvantages of a drop ceiling. See, there's advantages and disadvantages to both, right? The drop ceiling is probably a little bit more expensive than the way they normally paint it black because they do it pretty sloppy and fast. Though if you did it right, in my opinion, it would actually be more expensive to paint it black, because the thing is that the drop ceiling is performing a very important function. As much as I hate drop ceilings, and I do hate them, they're performing a very important function in basements, and that is that they're stopping dust from raining down on your head as well as all your belongings when people walk around upstairs, which happens all the time, because usually above your head in the basement is just slatted subfloor, or at least that's true in my case. So there's all these gaps in the subfloor where dust can come through, and it does. And it makes a mess out of things down there. So you really want your ceiling to be stopping that from coming through. And that's what a drop ceiling does for the most part. However, it eats up a bunch of your headroom, which is already limited in most, middle class, residential basements. Also, it makes it a really big pain in the butt to work on electrical or plumbing in the future. It covers up all the stuff in the ceiling, so you got to disassemble the ceiling just to get to it. And if God forbid a pipe springs a leak under there, it's gonna be so much more expense and hassle to handle it. Kind of the same issue with putting fascia walls over the exterior concrete walls in the basement. Now, spray painting your ceiling black sort of, solves the issue of the trashy looking drop ceiling and losing headroom. It makes it look a whole lot cleaner without having to put any fascia ceiling over top of it like a drop ceiling or drywall. But unfortunately, it does nothing to stop the dust from coming through the subfloor when people are walking around up there. And it does nothing to insulate against noise from downstairs to upstairs or vice versa, which I'd like to insulate against both, to be honest. I suppose you could probably painstakingly sit there and caulk all of the cracks in the subfloor before painting it, and that would really be the ultimate solution. But the amount of tedium, time, and work that would take just wouldn't be worth it. If you paid someone to do that, even in a small house like this, 1,100-ish square feet worth of that would take an asinine amount of time. It would cost thousands of dollars just for them to caulk it. And then they still have to spray paint it and everything. So it just, it would actually work really great if you used the right caulk, but it would cost so much money, and it would just be ridiculous. So that's why I like this foam core. If you cut it to the right dimensions, you can press it up in there and it stays. No glue, no nothing. If you ever need to take it back out, you just peel it back out. I like to use this flex fit duct tape to kind of seal the seams and to provide a transition between the foam core and the wooden joists. You'll also notice that I put this same foam core insulation at the end of all my runs. Now behind that, I did caulk the wood because that's an issue with drafts getting in around the foundation. So if you look at some of these runs that I have finished, you can see how this is a really clean looking install. It solves the dust problem. It provides some sonic insulation between the floors. And that's exactly everything I wanted. It doesn't take away any of our headroom. It doesn't cover up any utilities in case we need to work on that in the future. And as long as you have everything ran neat the way I do here, it's going to look great.